public, private, or Christian school, or homeschool? Where should we send our children for their education? Hello, once again, my name is Alan Dotson. I'm the pastor of Christ the King, Reformed Baptist Church here in Knoxville, Tennessee, coming to you for our weekly podcast, touching on things that we believe are relevant in society, in the Bible, and in our day. So we thank you for being with us today. But the topic I want to talk about is, where should we send our children for their education? You know, Vodi Bakum, I think one of the most bold men in the faith, the Christian faith, once said that if we send our children to Rome, why are we surprised when they come back acting like Romans? In other words, the church is not educating your children when they're in a public institution. Matter of fact, it is the public institution. It is Rome. It is the government that is educating your children. And they're not teaching from a Christian standard, a Christian education. They're not teaching about the things of God. Matter of fact, in most of our schools, most of the people that teach really aren't Christian anyway. And even the ones that are, if they go against what the public institutions say, they will be fired. They are teaching things that have been approved from a secular point of view. And our children are the most important thing that we have, that God has given us. Why would we want to send them to a place that is going to indoctrinate them on pagan philosophies, on things that are relevant in the culture, the secular culture, instead of educating them on the Word of God? When we look back to the Old Testament book of Deuteronomy chapter 6, I think we find the answer as to who should be educating our children. The book tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 6 that throughout the morning, when we rise up, throughout the day, when we walk by the way, in the evening, that we are to always, the parents, are to always be teaching our children the Word of God. Now, how are we going to do that when we're sending our children to Rome, to Caesar, to the public institutions that teach about God? No wonder we look in our society today and we see such a weak Christian church, almost a non-existent Christian church, because so many young people, if they ever knew Christ in the first place, those that did, the few that have, are falling away from the faith because they have been indoctrinated by these pagan philosophies. If we love our children, and I know many of you do, most of you do, why are we giving in to an institution that is secular to teach our children unbiblical things, unbiblical doctrines, an unbiblical way of life? I want to encourage you. Listen, I know it's hard to make a living out there. And a lot of people say, well, we have to have two people in our family, the husband and the wife, to make a living. Both of us have to go to work outside of the home. But this is what I ask you. Are your finances more important than the souls of your children? That may seem like a stretch to you, but according to the Bible, it is not. I want to encourage you. You know, if the mother is working outside the home and you're not sending your children to a Christian education, or you're not homeschooling them, make a way to financially get by with only one person working. In the long run, you will be glad you did it. Your child will be glad you did it, because you kept them from the hand of Caesar. You kept them from being and living and loving the world. This life is short. Please do not give your children up to Caesar. And don't come up with excuses because of the financial situation. You know, in America, even the poorest people are rich compared to people in many parts of the world. I want to encourage you. Put God first in your life, in your child's life. Seek the Lord with all your heart. Do not worry about what other people think. Worry more about what God thinks. Seek to be people that are pleasing to God. not pleasing to man. It doesn't matter if our children know who the coolest people are in hip-hop or in sports or in singing. You know, I see that stuff around me all the time. And most of those children who give in to those things are just as, even the ones that call themselves Christian, are just as secular as the ones who don't even go to church. It's time we rise up as parents and put God first. And that means in the life of our children as well. Listen, if you've not liked or subscribed or commented on this podcast, please do so. Thank you for watching. If there's anything we can do for you, questions you have, comments, once again, please leave them below. Thank you, and God bless.